Welcome to All Round English. Hello there. My name is Anandhan Raju. I'm your online English tutor. My object in producing this video is to help students with their English lessons. I hope teachers of English would also greatly benefit from this video. Well, in this video, one-word prepositions, more than one-word prepositions, and participle prepositions receive a complete treatment. Therefore, I urge you to watch this video till the end to get a thorough understanding of how to use prepositions correctly in speech or writing. Well, in the phrase on the table, the word on is used before the noun the table. Here, the word on is a preposition and it shows location when it is used before the noun the table. Since the phrase on the table begins with a preposition, it is a prepositional phrase. Well, in the sentence, the book is on the table, the prepositional phrase on the table is one part of the sentence that relates to another part of the sentence. The book is to show location. Well, in the phrase at his jokes, the word at is used before the noun his jokes. Here, the word at is a preposition and it shows cause when it is used before the noun his jokes. Since the phrase at his jokes begins with a preposition, it is a prepositional phrase. Well, in the sentence, they laughed at his jokes, the prepositional phrase at his jokes is one part of the sentence that affects another part of the sentence, they laughed, to show cause. Well, let's look at this sentence. He was standing behind me. In this sentence, behind is a preposition and it is used before the pronoun me. Well, let's look at another sentence. She is fond of riding. In this sentence, of is a preposition and it is used before the gerund riding. Therefore, a word used before a noun or a pronoun or a gerund forming one part of the sentence that relates to or affects another part of the sentence is a preposition. Well, prepositions when used before nouns can express numerous ideas. First, let's look at one-word prepositions. In the phrase through the forest, the preposition through denotes movement. For example, they rode through the forest. In the phrase towards the village, the preposition towards denotes direction. For example, we walked towards the village. In the phrase on Monday, the preposition on denotes a point in time. For example, he was born on Monday. In the phrase through the night, the preposition through denotes an extent of time. For example, he worked through the night. In the phrase by bus, the preposition by denotes means. For example, we came by bus. In the phrase by them, the preposition by denotes agency. For example, the road is being repaired by them. In the phrase with a knife, the preposition with denotes instrumentality. For example, she cut it with a knife. In the phrase with diligence, the preposition with denotes manner. For example, he worked with diligence. In the phrase for a doctor, the preposition for denotes purpose. For example, we must send for a doctor. In the phrase by Keats, the preposition by denotes authorship. For example, I read a poem by Keats. In the phrase from the Nilgiris, the preposition from denotes origin. For example, they come from the Nilgiris. In the phrase from the well, the preposition from denotes source. For example, draw water from the well. In the phrase from Lovedale, the preposition from denotes distance. For example, Rockland is 15 kilometers from Lovedale. In the phrase above a sergeant, the preposition above denotes rank. For example, a colonel is above a sergeant. In the phrase after that quarrel, the preposition after denotes result. For example, after that quarrel, we parted. In the phrase after your health, the preposition after denotes interest. For example, she asked after your health. In the phrase about my height, the preposition about denotes comparison. For example, my son is about my height. In the phrase from wrong, the preposition from denotes contrast. For example, you must know right from wrong. In the phrase out of order, the preposition out of denotes condition. For example, this machine is out of order. In the phrase into ice, the preposition into denotes state. For example, water turns into ice when cooled. In the phrase for his age, the preposition for denotes concession. For example, he is very active for his age. In the phrase of all, the preposition of denotes selection. For example, this is the best of all. In the phrase to coffee, the preposition to denotes preference. For example, I prefer tea to coffee. In the phrase for tea, the preposition for denotes habit. For example, it's time for tea. In the phrase for India, the preposition for denotes destination. For example, they sailed for India. In the phrase for a walk, the preposition for denotes object. For example, we went for a walk. In the phrase for children, the preposition for denotes target. For example, this video is made for children. In the phrase besides teaching, the preposition besides denotes addition. For example, besides teaching, he writes books. In the phrase -5, the preposition minus denotes subtraction. For example, 10 minus 5 is 5. In the phrase after an epic, the preposition after denotes imitation. For example, a mock epic is after an epic. In the phrase of a salesman, the preposition of denotes apposition. For example, is that idiot of a salesman calling again? In the phrase with a scar, the preposition with denotes identity. For example, I saw a man with a scar. In the phrase with dew, the preposition with denotes possession. For example, the grass with dew is wet. In the phrase at work, the preposition at denotes occupation. For example, they are at work. In the phrase at war, the preposition at denotes state. For example, the countries are at war. In the phrase on his success, the preposition on denotes connection. For example, she congratulated him on his success. In the phrase on me, the preposition on denotes association. For example, you can rely on me. In the phrase beyond me, the preposition beyond denotes scope. For example, this poem is beyond me. In the phrase within his power, the preposition within denotes limits or range. For example, it lies within his power. In the phrase of gold, the preposition of denotes material. For example, this chain is made of gold. In the phrase under repair, the preposition under denotes process. For example, the bridge is under repair. In the phrase to the dozen, the preposition to denotes ratio. For example, she talks 19 to the dozen. In the phrase with depth, the preposition with denotes proportion. For example, pressure increases with depth. Well, there are prepositions that are made up of two or more words. They too express numerous ideas. Let's look at them. Prepositions that express cause or reason. Because of, by reason of, by or in virtue of, on account of, due to, on the ground of, on the strength of, owing to, thanks to. A few examples are worth looking at. He had to retire because of ill health. Thanks to the internet, online instruction is possible. Prepositions that express result. As a result of, in consequence of, in the wake of. A few examples are worth looking at. The bus is temporarily out of commission as a result of a breakdown. In consequence of his illness, he is well looked after. Prepositions that express agency or means or method. By dint of, by force of, by means of, by way of, due to. A few examples are worth looking at. He succeeded by dint of hard work. Thoughts are expressed by means of words. Prepositions that express favor or support. In favor of, in support of, on behalf of. A few examples are worth looking at. Are you in favor of the proposal? The lawyer argued on behalf of his client. Prepositions that express substitution. In exchange for, in place of, instead of, in lieu of. A few examples are worth looking at. They traded gold in exchange for grain. He gave me a check in lieu of cash. Prepositions that express purpose or benefit. For the purpose of, for the sake of, in order to. A few examples are worth looking at. He arranged them for the sake of uniformity. He went closer to the picture in order to see it better. Prepositions that express addition. In addition to, over and above. A few examples are worth looking at. In addition to the washing, she does the cleaning. He gets several allowances over and above his basic salary. Prepositions that express contrast. Apart from, aside from, other than, with the exception of. A few examples are worth looking at. Apart from the remoteness, it is a lovely place. He told everyone other than me. Prepositions that express opposition. In defiance of, in spite of, without regard to, in contempt of. A few examples are worth looking at. In spite of the warning, she left her child alone in the house. They are in contempt of court for disregarding its order. Prepositions that express agreement. In accord with, in accordance with, in agreement with, in compliance with, in keeping with. A few examples are worth looking at. She acted in accordance with the instructions. The software is not in compliance with the data protection regulations. Prepositions that express assertion. According to, for example, according to the villagers, he was an honest man. Prepositions that express proportion. According to, in or of the order of, in proportion to. A few examples are worth looking at. You will be taxed according to your income level. He earns something in the order of 60,000 rupees a month. Prepositions that express consideration, allowing for, in consideration of, in the light of, in view of. A few examples are worth looking at. Allowing for traffic delays, we shall get there inside an hour. In view of the facts, it seems useless to continue. Prepositions that express possibility or circumstance. In case of, in the event of. A few examples are worth looking at. In case of rain, take an umbrella. In the event of fire, ring the alarm. Prepositions that express association or connection. In combination with, in conjunction with. For example, the police are working in conjunction with revenue officials to prevent land grabbing. Prepositions that express comparison, in comparison with. For example, his last play was well written in comparison with his first play. Prepositions that express closeness or nearness. On the brink of, on the edge of, on the point of, on the verge of. A few examples are worth looking at. The roof was on the brink of collapse. She was on the point of leaving. Prepositions that express aim or intention. In order to, with a view to, with an eye to. A few examples are worth looking at. He is trying to invent a new method with a view to solving the problem. He is saving now with an eye to spending his future happily. Prepositions that express location. At the back of, in the back of, on the back of, at the bottom of, on the bottom of, in front of, at the top of, on the top of. A few examples are worth looking at. Write your name on the back of the check. There is a well in front of the house. Prepositions that express range, between and. For example, this video is a must for children between 13 and 18. Prepositions that express movement, from to. For example, bees go from flower to flower. Prepositions that express relation or connection, in connection with, in or with reference to, in relation to, in respect to, with regard to, with respect to. A few examples are worth looking at. With regard to that, I have nothing to say. I am at a loss in respect of his whereabouts. Prepositions that express progress, in the course of, in the process of. For example, a new bus stand is in the course of construction. Well, some present participles act as prepositions. Let's look at them. Prepositions that express exclusion, barring, accepting, saving. A few examples are worth looking at. Barring accidents, we shall arrive tomorrow. Accepting the length, the essay is good. Prepositions that express relation or connection, concerning, regarding, respecting, touching. A few examples are worth looking at. Respecting the terms and conditions, you'll be given a loan. He addressed them touching future plans. Prepositions that express consideration, considering. For example, considering his age, he is quite healthy. Prepositions that express consequence, following. For example, there was widespread famine following the long drought. Prepositions that express opposition, notwithstanding. For example, notwithstanding the long delay, I shall still go. Well, prepositional phrases can be replaced by adjectives and adverbs. That is to say, they can be used as adjuncts. Let's look at this sentence. This is an act of cowardice. Here, the prepositional phrase of cowardice can be replaced by the adjective cowardly. Therefore, this sentence can be rewritten as, this is a cowardly act. Some more examples are worth looking at. He is a singer by profession. This sentence can be rewritten as he is a professional singer. The wind blew from the north. This can be rewritten as the north wind blew. A girl with dark hair was standing near me. This can be rewritten as a dark-haired girl was standing near me. It was a performance without faults. This can be rewritten as it was a faultless performance. Well, let's look at this sentence. He behaved in a wild manner. Here, the prepositional phrase in a wild manner can be replaced by the adverb wildly. Therefore, this sentence can be rewritten as he behaved wildly. One more example is worth looking at. The tide was out at that time. This sentence can be rewritten as the tide was out then. Well, in some cases, prepositions dispense with relative pronouns. The examples illustrate the omission of the relative pronoun which. The book about which I have been talking to you was written by me. The book I have been talking to you about was written by me. The moon at which you are looking is a full moon. The moon you are looking at is a full moon. The cup from which Jesus drank is called the Holy Grail. The cup Jesus drank from is called the Holy Grail. The chair in which my father is sitting is made of teak. The chair my father is sitting in is made of teak. The bus on which my friend had been traveling met with an accident. The bus my friend had been traveling on met with an accident. The school to which my children go is a public school. The school my children go to is a public school. I lost the pen with which my grandfather used to write. I lost the pen my grandfather used to write with. Well, the examples illustrate the omission of the relative pronoun whom. About whom are we speaking? Who are we speaking about? In whom do you believe? Who do you believe in? For whom are you playing? Who are you playing for? On whom did you spill the tea? Who did you spill the tea on? To whom did you send it? Who did you send it to? With whom did you go? Who did you go with? Well, in some cases, prepositions dispense with the relative adverbs too. The example illustrates the omission of the relative adverb where. The office where he works is closed on Sundays. The office in which he works is closed on Sundays. The office he works in is closed on Sundays. Well, sentences may end with prepositions too. A few examples illustrate this. A bed is a piece of furniture for sleeping on. Paper is a material for writing on. I hope you've got a thorough understanding of how to use prepositions correctly. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to this channel for information about new videos and leave your comments if you would like to. A descriptive grammar and a transformational grammar written by me are published as ebooks on Amazon Kindle. The links are given below for you to read them online if you wish to. Keep watching. Goodbye.